Naoya Inoue versus MJ went unnoticed over the weekend due to the Canelo versus Crawford fight. But you need to know that Inoue put on a masterclass. Inoue fought MJ in Japan for the undisputed super bantamweight titles. This was a fight fans wanted for a while, as MJ is a former unified champion and was supposed to be the toughest test yet for Inoue. Well, that was not the case. Inoue completely outclassed him, made it look easy, and took 9 to 10 rounds. I've been saying that Inoue is unbeatable from bantamweight to featherweight for the next 3 or 5 years for a while now. I really mean that. Junto, Nick Ball, Leo, Espinoza, line them up, Inoue beats them. Now he is scheduled to fight Alan Picasso in December, which should be another easy fight. But I love how active Inoue stays. You compare him to the other pound for pound fighters like Usyk and Terrence Crawford. Inoue blows those guys out of the water when it comes to activity. And I really just can't wait for him to bump up to featherweight, and though I believe he will go undisputed there, I think he has the abilities to do that. We're going to see much better fights, I believe, at featherweight and any weight higher going forward. Now, after the Picasso fight, it does make sense for Inoue to defend his belts one last time at least at super bantamweight against Junto in Japan. That only makes sense. Junto bumping up, a very good, dangerous fighter. I think Inoue could beat him, but I think we deserve that. I think that's going to be probably the best fight at super bantamweight for Inoue. I think that's going to be a pretty tough test, and I think that's just what the Japanese fans definitely deserve. That's what us boxing fans deserve. That's a big money fight. That fight definitely deserves to happen next year. I'd love to see that. I'm, of course, be excited for that, even though I want to see him bump up to featherweight after that. But I think that's definitely the fight to be made in Japan. Junto versus Inoue. We've been saying that for a while. I think that fight will happen next year. It makes sense for Junto to bump up. And Inoue can't stay a super bantamweight, I don't believe, forever. As he gets older, he'll probably want to put on more weight, bump up. Not try to cut all that weight at super bantamweight, probably bump up to featherweight. And then at featherweight, I've been calling for Nick Ball for a while. Nick Ball is beatable. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I want to have Inoue fight Nick Ball because he's beatable. I just think that Nick Ball probably is the biggest name at featherweight, which could draw in a type of fight that could be sold out at Wembley. All right, you're not going to be selling out stadiums unless it's in Japan, of course, with Leo or Espinoza or even Fulton at this case. In Japan, sure you could, but outside of that, you're not going to be selling out stadiums with that. But what you could sell out a stadium with is Inoue versus Ball in London. Doesn't have to be Wembley, could be any stadium, but that's a very big, area that you can make that fight. That's a big super fight at featherweight. I feel like that's the case. Two guys who have a big fan base behind them. Ball is definitely beatable, of course, but if Inoue was to bump up and to get a big fight there, I think Nick Ball in Wembley is the way to go, or any other big soccer stadium in Europe or the UK. But I also want to talk about how high Inoue could go. It's all about his frame, of course. Featherweight, I think, like I said, he could go undisputed there. I think he has the frame to be pretty solid at featherweight. I think he has the power to have that carry with him. But being 5'5", he's going to start pushing it going to super featherweight and lightweight. I don't think we'll see him at lightweight. I think he could win a belt all the way up to super featherweight, and I think he could go undisputed at featherweight. But lightweight is pushing it. Gets a little dangerous from him. We saw smaller fighters before at lightweight. Gervonta Davis, Isaac Cruz. Okay, Isaac Cruz won a belt at super lightweight, but I don't just think that Inoue has the frame to win at lightweight. If he was, it'd probably be for some vacant title. But I look at it this way, if Inoue fought Darren Barancek earlier this year, remember that dude, the Ukrainian boxer? If he fought him while Inoue was more comfortable at lightweight, training at lightweight for a while, Inoue could probably beat a guy like him. But if Inoue fought Shakur, Inoue fought any other top guy at lightweight division's so weak now, I feel like, but if he was to fight Gervonta Davis as well, I think obviously Inoue would lose, but some weak champion at lightweight, Inoue could probably win, or like I said, for a vacant title. But I think his max where he could actually win a belt, maybe champion, is super featherweight. Featherweight is a division, though I believe he could go undisputed. So that's how far Inoue could go. I've been saying this forever, but I just really want to cover this fight because it went unnoticed, really, because the awesome Canelo versus Crawford fight. I understand that, and also the fact that here East Coast in America, you have to wake up at 7 a.m. to watch the fight, and I was already up at 1:30, 2 o'clock watching the Canelo versus Crawford fight, so I was going to be watching it, but I watched the highlights, and Inoue at class him, doing what he does. He's honestly one of my favorite fighters, Inoue is. I love the fact that he stays active. I just want to see him more in the States so I can actually adapt to my time zone, of course. I'd love to see him in person as well. We'd love to see him fight Nick Ball in Wembley. He deserves it. And of course, he deserves that fight with Junto as well in Japan, in his home country, in both their home countries. But let me know down below what you guys think of Inoue. I also will have in the description my sponsor, Hayabusa. Use the code ALEXD, all caps, get a percentage off your order. I'm out, guys. Peace.